Welcome to the Dirty Penguin Presents Movies! Welcome to the Dirty Penguin Presents Season 2, Episode 3, Twilight. That's right, we're going to the Pacific Northwest, we're going to Forks, we're going to Twilight Country, Vampire Country.
Give us those fresh movie stats.
All right, made in 2008, the unfortunate movie called Twilight. What is the rotten fresh?
I have it written down here. I'll bow out of this.
Well, he said fresh.
89.
He
I said rotten.
Slash
I
fresh.
don't think
I'll
it
say
was-
89.
It was 45.
Now I'm going to go with 62.
Jess, come on
49.
down.
Yeah, 49.
Wow, nice.
49.
This
Yeah,
ever
49%.
after scored higher than this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that just hurts me.
I know, because I put these two movies on par with one another.
Oh.
I would say this is.
a
I would say
better-
this is the
a
lowest
better
movie,
than
but we all
Ever
know
After.
what the lowest movie was.
It's ever after, but go ahead.
Rums really.
I think that is a very close runner-up.
This movie starring Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson, Billy Burke, and Anna Kendrick.
Billy Burke, right? That's Charlie, right?
Yes.
This is Dad.
Love that character. That's my favorite character in this whole
Which
movie.
character?
We all love Charlie.
The dad.
Charlie,
Her dad.
the policeman.
The best.
And Peter Fetching.
This was
I have my
His-
favorite character. in this
directed
movie, too.
by Catherine Hardwicke.
That's right.
So, fun fact to know and tell, she's from Texas. She's from a little town here in Texas called Cameron, Texas, right outside of College Station.
Don't
like
embarrass
super-
Texas. Don't embarrass
like
Texas
super
like that.
small
oh,
town.
no, she
She-
was. They should have
It's a
kept her.
blink and you miss it town on Highway 6.
She has a movie that just came out, Miss Bala.
Hey.
Whatever day you're listening to, it's probably already come
It's
out.
out.
for you.
Yeah, it's out.
You may have already
Yeah,
seen
the,
it.
the movie that's out right now by,
All right.
by Catherine Hardwicke.
Worldwide gross. Do I have that? Yes.
Huge. Huge.
Had to have been.
Yeah,
Oh, so the
ginormous.
budget was $37 million.
Yeah, I would say, and that's something I don't have written down, 78 million.
123 million.
200 million.
201 million.
Oh!
What's the price, Bob?
Angela, come on
Oh,
down. 392 million worldwide. It made 192 million gross in the U.S.
In the
Yeah.
U.S. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Of course
man,
it
this is
did.
huge.
That is a lot.
So,
I told you I'm not good at this game.
so
And a portion of that was my money. I saw this in
I'm
the
not
theater
either.
I did
4
not.
times.
Are you serious? You saw this four
Four-
times in the
four
theater?
times.
In the theater?
4 times in the theater.
I'm
Were
so,
you a
Yes.
14-year-old girl
I'm
at the
so
time?
embarrassed for you right
It was
now.
like 28.
Oh, man.
I was going to say, wait, this
And
was
I
not that
man.
I
long.
remember doing trivia, and I remember them talking about, are you going to go see it?
Ugh,
See?
ugh.
We did- we
It's
didn't
that
see it in
purchasing
theaters.
power of that
Did we?
group of people that just,
Yeah, we
oh,
did.
my
Right?
God,
That
it hurts
drive.
me.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
And
And I
it's
remember
the
y'all
reason
talking
that
about-
movies like this to continue to be made to this day.
Yes, I agree.
well,
Absolutely.
because
It's painful.
they tapped an untapped market, and
Right.
there's a lot of money there.
It's
They
the
make-
same. It's the same thing as
It's
Michael
dirty-
Bay,
Yeah.
Lucas, Spielberg
That's for the teenage boys.
appealing to the boys.
That's for the teenage
With
boys.
the
I got
marketing
no problem
for
with
toys.
that, though.
Yes, with the toys. Like there was
I
an
got no
untapped
problem
market.
with that,
14-year-old
though.
girls.
They make movies for children. They
I'm
make
just
movies
saying
for
these old
adults.
This-
white men
this
need to
This was
movie-
an
stop. They just
untapped
say,
market.
I don't
This
wanna tap
movie
that.
drove sales of binder journals with Robert Pattinson and whatever Team Jacob werewolf. Not a werewolf, by the way.
I thought he is a werewolf.
No, it's not a werewolf. He's just a wolf. Just a big dog. That's all
No,
he is.
he's a werewolf.
He's not a werewolf. He's a
No,
big dog.
because I think a werewolf.
Like I've
He-
seen that. I
he
haven't
is a
even seen the
wolf.
series
It's
or
a
read
wolf
the books.
legend.
so
He's a
don't-
wolf.
It's a
I
wolf
just-
legend.
Jacob,
But
Jacob,
The
Jacob.
long-haired Indian.
Yes. He's not a
Jacob,
werewolf.
but-
He's a wolf.
He's a wolf wear.
What do you think a werewolf is?
He's a
well,
wolf.
don't werewolves have
He's
to
just a
move?
big
Have to change
wolf.
with the moon?
He's a
Yes.
shifter.
He's a
Shapeshifter.
shifter that's only activated when there's vampires around.
But what does he shift to?
A wolf.
A wolf.
No, that he could. He could do it on his like at on a whim because he does it in front of Charlie.
Yes,
like,
he could.
Bam.
Yes, he can do it
I
on
guess
the
maybe
way
that's
in.
later in
How many of these
Eventually.
movies have you seen?
He can do it on the way.
Yeah,
in.
and I'm kind of wondering. I've only seen the first one and the very last
Have you?
one.
I mean, I knew watching it that he's a werewolf, but they don't get into that
He's
at all
seen
in
all
this
the
film.
movies.
I've seen all of them.
Do they not?
They
okay, we
only
don't, I guess
mention
we
briefly.
have the knowledge because
they
we,
talk about the Indian tribe that was known for being wolves.
Oh, does he not wolf out in this
He
movie?
does
No,
not
hold
wolf
on.
out at all.
No,
Oh,
he
my
does
word.
not.
he doesn't-
Definition of a werewolf is a person who changes for periods of time into a wolf, typically when there's a full moon. So he is a werewolf.
Okay.
But technically not in this one.
I mean, the book's called Twilight. It's
imply
about
that they
werewolves
can
versus
become
vampires,
wolves.
whatever.
He doesn't accept it until
the implication.
second.
All right,
Well,
let's
I
get
don't
into
think it's
let's get into
activated
this
until the
movie.
So let's get
Okay.
into the. Can we get into the facts? Let's
Yeah,
get
it's
into
Yes.
the Twilight.
the- yeah.
Twilight. We've got
How many Oscars did it win?
So before casting, Robert Pattinson had never heard of the Twilight novel. He only attended casting because he liked Kristen Stewart's performance in Into the Wild.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah. He had a crush on him.
Over 5,000 people auditioned to be Edward.
including.
Well, obviously he did. So,
I don't
But
think
like
that,
of all the people that could have
including who?
I don't know who else.
Anybody-
You
well,
said
but
5,000
famous-
people audition. Who else?
What
famous
big
besides
Who are the
Pattinson?
other 4,999 people other than Robert Pattinson that audition? Does it say?
No, it just
Okay.
said 5,000 people. I'm assuming that's a lot of people auditioning.
I would imagine so. I was just like, maybe there's some notables. Maybe like, I don't know, Keith Richards.
I think it came down to 4 people. I can't remember who they were. I think a couple of them were notable, but Kristen Stewart ultimately picked him, I believe.
This was painful. Just doing the trivia for this, like looking this up was painful for me.
I know.
Why you
I'm
should have
sorry,
you should
buddy.
have had me do this. You
Kristen
should've
Stewart wore hair pieces so they didn't waste time doing her hair and therefore had more time to shoot.
because they were on the budget.
Why would they need to do her hair? Her hair, she did like messy hair the whole time.
It wasn't her real hair. It was a wig.
Okay, whatever.
Dave Franco.
Yeah.
Oh,
audition
okay.
for
I
the
remember
role.
there's
I
a
could
c-
see that. I could
Yeah.
see the.
I think he would have done a better looking one.
Stephanie Meyer had her own personal cast before all the roles were officially cast. Emily Browning as Bella. Henry Cavill as Edward.
Oh.
But they
I
did
remember
say
that.
Henry Cavill
he
wasn't he
was-
too old?
He was 25 and therefore he could not look like a 17-year-old pedophile. I'm sorry, 17-year-old in the movie.
Who is this?
Which fun fact? Henry
Henry
Cavill
Cavill.
does like them young.
Oh, Henry
Charlie
Allegedly.
Hunan,
Does he?
Yes, from
Sons of Anarchy,
Charlie
Sa-
Hunnam.
Yes.
as Carlisle.
As Carlisle, really?
Oh.
Mary Louise Parker as Esme. Rachel Lee Cook as Alice.
Okay,
Tom
yeah.
Welling as Emmett.
Tom Welling.
What is this cast?
Tom
That's who?
Welling.
Oh,
Who's Tom Welling?
Somebody save! Sorry.
Smallville.
I love some Smallville.
Did
I could do,
But isn't
I
it
could
too
do a
small for?
Smallville podcast. I'll just say that right
I
now.
think I missed something. This cast list you're given is for what?
This
The-
is
that's
what
the
the,
writer.
With the author.
author had picked.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
People the author wanted to play the role.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead.
Despite the fact that Edward Cullen is by far his most famous role, Robert Pattinson admitted later that he hates both the Twilight films and novels. I guess they probably did before they did that.
Screw him.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably making bank off of the song that he got in there or whatever.
This
The-
they said that. Oh, by the way, they said that was he didn't even know they were putting that in there. That
Oh, the little-
one of the actors had
No,
the
that
actresses
was-
had recorded it.
No,
No.
there's a song. He has a full song in there.
He's a
produced
musician.
song.
He plays guitar,
Mhm.
and his song is featured in the restaurant scene, playing in the background.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh, I did not know that.
And then it plays again
Fun
at the end
fact.
of the movie.
That one of the actresses had like recorded it and then played it for like the director, and that's they included. He didn't know they were going to put it in the movie.
Didn't they have to get his rights or something?
Well, I'm sure
So
they
he
put it in
says.
when they filmed it, and then they got his rights. All after the fact.
Yeah.
They put had plenty of time to get all that done.
Yeah.
Here, Robert, sign this.
This was the only movie not to receive a Razzie.
Just
Okay.
form,
It was
boilerplate.
the only out of the
out of
No,
the
it didn't-
franchise.
it didn't receive a Razzie nomination.
out of
the franchise?
Out of the entire
Oh,
franchise, this is
okay.
the only one.
Okay, so the rest of them did.
Yes.
that weren't directed by Catherine Hardwicke. They should have kept her.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really taglines. Some of the taglines for this movie were, "When you can live forever, what do you live for?
What's important is that
That's so deep.
they
They
lived.
Forever
That's
begins
so
now.
deep.
Nothing will be the same."
So dramatic.
I
So deep.
want to be a movie poster
So much
tagline
teenage
writer.
angst.
This is your film, Doug. How did this end up being your most hated and most must watch?
So one of the ones. So my wife watched the movie. I mean, read the books, And I remember we were in the movie theater, and I watched the trailer came on for it, and I thought, and in the trailer they show the scene where he stops the car, and it's very actiony. Watch the trailer. Go to YouTube, watch the trailer, and when we see that trailer, you think, "Oh wow, this looks pretty interesting." You know, I know it's like a little teeny bopper love movie, but it looks interesting. But they failed to do really anything interesting in this movie. They tend to cut away from all the scenes. Like, they do a lot of perspective shots when they kill the guy who's on the no, they kill the guy not on the boat. The first guy they kill,
The security guard, yeah.
the security guard. They like get around him, and then when they actually do anything,
It's a cutaway.
there's a
you
cutaway,
hear-
and then they show
yeah.
up front like a fire hydrant or something, and it blurred out as them fighting. When they kill the other guy on the boat, no, the security, and then they show from above through a grate. Like all the action scenes tend to be shot
Yeah.
away. All the action happens off screen.
Yeah,
practically.
even in the very end action scene, they use the and I don't know if this is a trope or not, but they use the trope of cutaway from violence. They cut away from violence, but they use some sort of either auditory or visual substitution. Like at the end, I noticed it at the end where they did it with thunder a lot. You know, they would cut away from violence, someone being thrown, hit, punch, kicked, and it would be thunder. That's where the thunder and lightning would hit, right?
Or like my favorite scene when Alice breaks his neck. She jumps on him, and you're looking at her back, and you see her
Yes.
arm movements, and you hear the neck.
Yes.
You don't see the head twist.
Which is why I hate one of the things I hate about this movie.
Right. So what is this rated? Is it PG-13?
It's got to be PG.
Is
Yeah,
it-
I think it's PG.
Yeah.
Alice, by the way, is my favorite character in the whole movie.
Alice is the one that
She
can
is
see
pretty
the
awesome.
future.
What's that?
Yes.
She's the one that sees
Yes,
the future.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
Angie, you're the only one who has read this. Is that any
No.
other penguin?
No,
read
I
this?
am not the only one
Jesse.
who has read this.
Oh, just so everyone knows, in the studio, there Jessica apparently out of the trash can pulled trash out and put them all around.
Litter.
I
the
thought we needed some
studio.
information.
So my question is, we talk about Doug has his own reasons for hating it, right? Because it's not.
It's a fraud of a movie.
It did live up to
defrauded
the
me.
expectations of the trailer.
Yeah.
Was that fair?
Yes, and I will say this: I happened one day to be sitting on the toilet, and I thought to myself, and I saw behind me was a
That one
Twilight
day
book,
that you did that.
and I opened the book that I
Yep.
sat on the toilet, and then I opened the book,
Is this after or before you saw the film?
I came back and said, "Is this for 14-year-olds, or did a 14-year-old write this? Because it is poorly written."
Really?
Yep.
So was this before or after seeing the film?
I think after.
After.
I don't
So-
remember.
So does it live up to the adaptation of the book? Is it a good movie that way? Because I know you two are fans. Yes.
Yes. I read the
Yes.
book. Read the book for. Yeah.
Yes, I read.
and the
I
book
read all the
holds-
books. I couldn't wait to
the
get my
movie
hands on
holds
the
true
next
to the
book.
book.
I know. Me too.
The movie holds true to the book. Faithful adaptation.
I think so.
ish.
I think so.
For the budget that they were given, they
It
did
captures
they did
the
as well as they
spirit of
could.
You know, one of the things that I never heard about this movie was the book was so much better.
Anybody say that?
That is something that I have never heard anybody say about this
You
entire
people
series.
who have read the books religiously,
They could
and
have
they have never said it.
so right here. I gave them the option to say so before you said it.
Okay, first of all, when people say that, everyone rolls their eyes. You know, no one wants to say that
No,
anymore.
you
Nobody
can't
wants to
take.
hear
You
it.
Because
can't
it's
take.
expected. Everyone knows the books are
Right.
always better.
If you're the one in the group that
I don't
says,
think so.
if you're the one in the group that says the book was so much better, everyone's gonna be like, she's such a snob. Her books.
Well, even you can, but even so, yes, you're right. But even so, you can say that without saying those words in that snob. You know, like you can say, you know how. I really enjoyed how the book was able to go
But that wasn't
deeper
what he
into this,
asked.
that, the blah, blah,
Yes,
He
Well,
said,
it was
"Was it
faithful,"
faithful?"
and I
you
said yes.
could have said the book was, the book was better than the movie.
But it's faithful to the adaptation of the spirit of the book. That's how I feel about, like, say, the Lord of the Rings series.
The
I think
Watchmen.
they're great. They're
Some
great
have-
movie.
that's
Or
a complaint about The
Or
Watchmen,
The Watchmen.
you know?
True. It's faithful to the spirit of the comic. I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. The comic's better. You could have said the book's. I mean,
We would have
the
rolled
book
our
is-
eyes.
the book is- better.
And just to be clear, I wasn't making a commentary about what they were saying. I just said that is
No,
something
it's just
that I have
true.
never heard.
And you
I
hear
heard
it.
that about-
No, it's
almost every
absolutely
time you
true.
hear a book adaptation.
Exactly.
Here's where I think I might have a hard time. I read the book and I saw the movie. So even if the movie didn't spell things out for me, I was able to just infer things because I had the knowledge from the book.
Right.
So
So you're
there are
thinking I
things,
might have enjoyed it more had I had read the book?
well, there are. I
No,
think
because
that-
you
I
would have
thi-
enjoyed reading the book.
You wouldn't have enjoyed it because it still is geared
Did you
towards.
read the entire book?
No,
while you were
I
sitting
read
there in
about
the
2 or 3
bathroom?
pages, and I
Okay.
almost,
But I think that's
flushed
just
it.
it.
But then I,
But I think that's just it. Like I read the book, I saw the movie, and even though the movie may have left things out, I was able to say, "Oh, I know why they're doing that,"
Right.
because in the book it was this. And for somebody who never read the book, they may have been like, "I don't get that," but somebody like me, I was like, "I get what they're doing there.
Yeah.
I know why they did
Good
that."
point.
When
take the
when
place
it
of
started
this.
off, when the movie started off, I thought this is just a moody, gloomy kind of a goth high school anthem.
Mhm.
And I didn't necessarily hate it. I didn't
It's like a
necessarily
gothy,
like
can't
it.
hardly wait.
It was just kind of going. It commits a sin, I think, that several, or at least a few of the movies in our must-watch on this most hated list do. The sin of a forced relationship between two people with no, like the minute they sit next to each other in class, they have such a relationship that she's upset when he doesn't show up for class for three or 4 days.
Oh.
Well, she thought, okay, so are we going to talk about this scene? She walks in.
real quick.
We're talking about the whole
Real
movie.
quick. This goes back
I know.
this goes back
This is
to
an
the
important
point
scene.
that I was making earlier. We know what's happening in that scene because we read the book.
I'm just telling you
So
what I saw.
I know, and that was my point that I was making earlier.
And that's where, that's where like most people would say, well, in the book, he could get into the whole like she smelled whatever. I think it's she
Yeah,
smelled.
she
or something.
smelled.
She smelled and
Good.
well, I mean, he almost had an orgasm
smelled
while
good.
when she
Yes.
walked into the room.
Just
Like,
real-
like the wind started blowing, and like
The fan
Well,
was
he
on.
explains to us later
She
that
walks
it's
in front
because
of
he
the
can't read her mind.
no, because the smell of her blood was
Yes.
like
First it was the
it
smell.
got him.
No.
Oh,
She
Randy.
smells really good.
real quick. When you're in a restaurant
Yeah.
and somebody orders the fajita platter
Yeah.
and the server's walking with the fajita platter.
She was that
and
sizzling-
and that
that
scent
sizzling
hits
smell.
you.
Yeah.
She was the sizzling fajita platter in that
Okay.
scene.
Yeah, it
He
took
does.
everything not to just.
But he doesn't tell her that.
jump her
Later he
bones.
tells her that it's because he
So
can't read
she's-
her mind that
well,
he's
she-
attracted
she's
to
like-
her.
No, that's
that's
what
also-
intrigues him.
Oh, okay.
That's what.
But she's
Whatever. I felt like I didn't feel there was the relationship she just
That's a very
sparked out of
important
nowhere
scene in
for
the
me.
movie, though. That's how they.
But wait, why is she upset for
because
him
he
not
thinks
being there?
Well,
because
oh.
she thinks first she starts questioning herself. What's wrong with me? She does the whole "what's wrong with me" thing. She smells her hair.
I
It's
remember
very
that.
subtle, but she smells her hair.
I told Angela she
And
should
then-
have went like under her arms, like, "Am I stinking?"
Then she walks into the counselor's office, and he's trying to get out of that class.
Yeah.
So she's just intrigued on why this person hates
Did she
her
follow
so much.
him? Is she walking in there because he's in there? Because she doesn't. She just
She's
doesn't
new.
do
She needed to
anything.
find out something. Probably is what I.
I don't
understood.
think. I
Yeah.
think
she's
it
new.
was
as
when
her
I was
first
watching
day.
the movie. She doesn't. He leaves and she stands there for a minute, and then she leaves too. Like she didn't go in there for any reason.
Right, she left. Yeah. Yes, she didn't.
Well,
Very
I think she was
stalkery.
I think she was sidetracked.
Other than she needed
Right.
to be in the counselor's office to make sure that she heard that he was trying to get out of the biology class. I saw no reason for her even being in the room.
I think whatever she came in there for was overshadowed by her.
But
and
that's not a movie breaker for me. I mean, stuff's
so
going to
that's
happen in
just
movies
a
that I
little
don't
background,
necessarily
so-
understand. But and there are a lot of movies that do have relationships between two characters in a romance that is never really fully explained. Not really the deal breaker for me begins, I think, at the point in the film where you have vampires playing baseball.
Okay, that's a little later.
Okay.
We are going to talk about
Vampire
that.
baseball.
But they only do it during
I,
thunderstorms,
and I have
and you'll
Yeah.
find out
Yeah,
why.
you'll find
and
out why.
I have a comment on that. If they're hitting the ball so hard that,
That
they have
bat-
to use lightning, that bat would be shattered. Like it would be in splinters if
Yes.
they're hitting it so hard that it's going miles away and the
Yes.
sound is so loud that they have to
the
disguise
ball,
it with
the
thunder.
ball would disintegrate. The ball would come off. I mean, real
Yeah.
people could knock the cover off a ball.
True.
I'm just going to stick with vampires should not be playing baseball. It's just not a mashup I want to watch.
Should they be playing tennis?
If it's set in France and we're trying to tell the real story.
What's
All my
sport-
vampire friends, they're really big baseball fans, and they go play during thunderstorms
Yeah.
in the
Because they have
Pacific
to,
Northwest.
because they have to hit the ball
I
really,
did.
really, really
I did.
hard.
I
Rhymes with
did
cheating.
like I've seen how they did like the practical effect. That running scene is all practical effect. It's not done in post. Like the running, that's all.
He
done.
really runs that fast?
Yes, it's amazing.
That's how he landed
They
the part.
injected him with super soldier serum. No, but it's all done like practically. So they like there's a long piece of plexiglass, right? That the actors are walking on, and that's going quickly, right? So that gets the camera moving quickly, and they're just running regularly, so it speeds up them running.
It looks like them.
Yeah, so I thought that was really cool how that's done. That is actually done, in camera.
It's a special effect happening at the time of the filming rather than in post.
Yeah, I give it that. I give much respect
special
for
effects
folks
for that?
for directors that do
I
that.
don't know, because there's a lot of the speeding in the movies, the speed running, like when he has her on her back and going up mountains and stuff, that it just looks silly
But
to
do
me.
you like
I
this-
just can't.
Do you like how
I
they
don't,
speed up?
again, don't really get into the vampires running around with women on their back. It's just weird. It's just not.
Well, they're teenagers.
Are they?
He's not. He isn't.
Are they?
Are they?
He's not. He's a pedophile.
He's 17. He could have been.
No, he's like 312.
No,
He's
he's
100.
not. He's 117.
And they have to go to high school? Why don't you go to community college? Like, I don't understand that.
Why don't you just not go?
They explain it
Yes,
in the
Why don't you just not
movies.
go?
Stay at home.
They
Why
start.
don't? Hey, we
They're-
homeschool.
they have to have a cover. They have to.
We homeschool.
They have to assimilate.
Boom.
They could have went
Movie's
to
over.
community college.
Did y'all not see the?
Well, because the
Volturi?
younger they are when they start, the longer they can stay in one place.
What are you talking about?
She's saying if he goes to high school, then he can go to community
But
college.
they leave and
They-
come
And then
back
he
to
can-
that.
But
that place.
later, like
Yeah.
a whole
They, like-
generation of
But
people
this is
have
like-
died and gone, and they come. So they
100
come
years
back.
later, these people aren't there anymore.
But other people talk about the people that go and come back, that the Cullens that go and come back, the people
Yep.
that are living there now.
Well,
still
Jacob.
Talk
know
about-
about them.
Jacob
yeah, talk
mentions
about
it.
that they leave and come
Well,
back.
but
Oh,
they're
is it
but they're
Jacob that talks
Indians.
about
It's
that?
Jacob
Jacob.
that
It's
said-
the
Oh,
Indians.
so him and his
And
ancestors.
it's part
okay.
and it's part of
That
their
makes- that makes sense.
it's part of their stories that they
I will
don't share
give
with
that to-
outsiders.
I'll give that to you. Yes,
so you're
okay.
saying he was about to go to community college, other than the fact that they had 1,000 caps on the wall of high school.
Not at that high
Not at
school.
that
though.
high
But I'm
school.
just saying, they didn't need to go to high school.
Right, and why would he bring all those caps from every high school that he's ever
It
been
was
to
a running
back
family
there?
joke.
It's
Yeah.
a joke.
But then
Yeah.
you're not going to have
And it's
people.
not
No, but why?
Oh.
If he's going to high school, all these other places,
Community
why
college.
is he?
People
Why
go
is
to
he
commu-
bringing all of his graduation caps back to Forks?
because it's a piece of art,
Yeah.
and these are really rich people and can afford to hire movers to move their shit.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
Maybe
defending
so.
it now. You know what? I had to give my cap and gown back.
Yeah, I don't have my cap.
No, because we had to give it back. It was a
Really?
rental.
Oh, we
Yeah.
had to buy ours. Like I had to buy my cap and gown.
No, we still had to.
And then they
We
got
had
to
to
keep it.
give money, but we had to give it back.
I don't really
Oh.
remember. I don't even have mine. I have mine from college.
But
Yeah, you have your
that's
college
needless
one.
to say.
Oh, sorry.
No, neither here nor there. But that's what I'm saying is, it makes no sense. Why go? Why go to high school?
So we have
Or
this.
if
They
you
have
gotta
to
have-
have their cover.
If you got to have a cover, okay, we're homeschooled.
But that didn't work.
Movie
I
over.
mean,
It doesn't
well,
matter. They're
the
he's
dad-
a pedophile.
okay,
For,
It's just-
for the purposes of this movie,
And the
they
dad
go
looks
to
like he's
high
12.
school.
Yes.
And
Okay.
he fell in love with
You'll
a
have to
high
accept
school
him.
student,
Not-
and he wants to bang a high school student.
So
and
then
this
he-
movie, the whole thing, and I even told her this because she's watching. What's the last one?
Breaking Dawn.
Breaking Dawn.
Breaking Dawn. She haven't
Women.
watched the rest of them, and I told her, yeah, this movie's all about pedophiles.
No, it's
Jacob
not.
grooms the daughter. I'm gonna imprint
Oh,
on her.
well, that's later.
And blah, blah, yeah,
That's-
yeah.
We're
So,
again. You're getting
Spoiler
ahead.
Okay,
of
alert,
stop,
we're,
stop.
we're,
Just
we're in
sticking
the,
to
we're in
this-
the
we're
last.
getting-
we need
this
to talk
movie
about Twilight.
is full of pedophiles, and
Bring
I
it back
think
to
it just
Twilight.
starts
Okay.
with.
So he's in love with this human, and he wants to bang her, and he takes her to play baseball.
And you notice she never asked.
You missed a whole middle of the movie.
Did
That's
we?
not
He
the
saves her.
I
No, he
think
saves
I'm
her
glossing
from.
over the whole. Okay, we get how they
Right?
met.
He
and-
reveals himself
and
and
he
his
saved,
vampire
and then the whole
abilities.
half the rest of the movie, he's like, shit, you.
Exactly, and which
No.
no one else seems
He
to
doesn't
see.
say that.
It's goth and
She
mopey
says,
and
"Why did you
depressing, and all of them have troubles in their life, and it's very.
And then he said that, and then he turns to her and said, I wish I could quit you, Bella.
I know. So okay. So I had I experimented for this movie. I'd seen this movie. This is not the first time I'd seen this movie. Unfortunately, it's not the first time I'd ever seen this movie. So I performed an experiment. So put your little lab jacket on. Exactly. I've got my Bunsen burners
Okay.
and my
All right, Beaker, what you
beakers,
got?
my Erlenmeyer flasks.
And so you put the movie under a vent hood.
Yes. So what I did was in the first 10 minutes, I counted the number of hard brooding looks that Robert Pattinson gives to Bella Swan.
What a name
And-
there, by the way.
So
Bella Swan.
in the first 10 just in the first 10 minutes, okay, mind you, 5, 10, 15, 20, 22 hard brooding looks. 22.
Well, that's
All
the
right.
only look he
I mean,
had.
exactly.
Well, right.
I think the name Bella Swan says something about the in-depth writing involved in
That's true.
Twilight, right there.
Well, it got me wondering what was the stage direction? Like, what was written into the script for Robert Pattinson? Like, what's the emotion that comes along with that?
Brooding.
I haven't read this. I haven't read the books,
Well,
so I don't know like the backstory.
He is in
what-
pain. He's in pain. They're all in pain.
in
all
the first
time.
10 minutes.
All the
So in
time.
why?
Well,
why are
because
they? Because
They're constantly thirsty, and they're thirsty, and he wants to eat her
vegetarian.
because they're
vampires.
They're
vegetarians.
vegetarian vampires.
I have
yeah.
notes
They
about
don't-
that. I said if you want to date a vampire, be a vampire. But this must be like dating a vegan. Like if you're not going to be part of their world. Like
And that's
but
probably all
these
they talk
vegan,
about.
these are vegan vampires. Like oh my god.
You know,
Oh.
there's 3 people, who will tell you vegans, CrossFit, and vampires. Won't stop talking about it.
Yes.
Well, I used to be a
Yes, thank you,
vegetarian,
Doug.
not a vegan, so hopefully I'm outside of that group. But
Oh,
that all went to shit
you
now.
are
I'm not a
outside.
vegetarian anymore anyway. So
Okay, so before we get to the baseball, we did have
there's a whole
awesome-
movie in the middle of
I just want to
fa-
talk about the interesting stuff though.
the interesting.
Go ahead.
No, okay.
Jess. Like
What you got?
you
like
got
this?
a
You like this
Do
movie? So
y'all
give me
you got a
some-
horse in this race.
Go ahead,
so-
argue it.
To defend this movie. So then I would say there's some key points here. What about the part where he's watching her? He watches
While she's
her while she.
sleeping?
He's a
how
creepy
how
pedophile.
so
creepy.
Yeah, that's
How
how much more
sweet is
creepy
that?
more do you need? No,
Aw.
sexy.
It's so creepy.
No, when he admits, I watch you sleep. And
Well, she
I
catches
would've been
him and she thinks
I'd have been
she's
like,
dreaming.
when are you watching me sleeping? Oh, when I'm breaking into your house and staring at you. Wait, what?
When you're in your bed.
Hey, has anybody?
It's
I want to
super
say this,
creepy.
and I'm probably the only person in this room that can say this, but I've actually woken up with a dude sitting in a chair just watching me sleep,
Who was he?
and a
was
guy who
me.
worked with
Yeah.
me, another cook,
Okay.
and I was extremely troubled and creeped out by that.
Andy, do you need
I've
to
woken
talk to
up-
somebody?
I woken up to someone staring at me while I'm sleeping, and
Yeah.
it is very weird.
This is
Very
creepy.
weird.
This guy, he was
Well-
having some dating issues, and he wanted to talk, but he didn't want to wake me up, so he just pulled a chair up and sat in a chair and stared at me while I
As
slept.
That is
song-
such a bad choice.
As the
That
song
is a
goes.
bad choice.
choice
Is that
to
not a
make.
bad choice? Yeah.
In fact, you know what I'm doing? You know what, Kevin? I'd like you to tonight when she goes to sleep. I want you to just stand, but then you got to kind of like slowly make a noise to kind of wake up. I
No,
want you
and,
to be like
and
this.
make sure you have a brooding look on your face. Be very brooding.
I've been watching you sleep.
I've been watching. I love watching you sleep.
You think that would be sexy?
Well,
Your smell is irresistible, and I can't
Listen,
read your
You
thoughts.
smell so much different when you're awake.
You look so. You look so tasty while you sleep.
I hear the secrets that you keep when you're talking in your
Aw.
sleep is all I got to say about that. You don't know what's
Very
coming
nice.
out of your mouth. Okay. Anyway, so
Please continue.
Please.
okay, and then so they had this little makeout session which got pretty hot.
Oh, that's
there
my
for a
that's my
second.
no,
They
the reverse on the no
they
means
won.
no.
Listen, awards. You brought up awards. They won MTV Best Kiss.
Best kiss. They did. I remember that.
Mm-hmm. So
That was an
congratulations to
unexpected
them
no
for that.
means
That's
no.
also voted by 14-year-olds. Did they win the Nickelodeon
I just want
Best
to
couple?
say that
Best
just
Couple
reserving
Kids
it
on
for down the
Nickelodeon Kids
road,
Award?
This is not the only of the must-watch list that has a very poignant no means no scene. Or
Well, he
not
had to say no.
poignant. No, but
He said
gives
no.
he gives the no means no
I
and he
just
jumps
lost
back.
control.
There's also, but we'll get to it.
She tried to. She was pursuing.
I'm just going to do a call back later to a
And
no
I will
means
have
no
you guys
scene.
know
She
that he
was
was
the
not
instigator.
trying to bang her. He was very much against banging her.
How?
Well, 'cause he
without
wins.
getting married.
Because
Yes.
he can't do it.
Well, I mean, think about that.
'Cause
Like with an
I
ice,
can't lose
with-
control
when you
with
got
you.
when you got an ice cold dick.
Oh, Doug.
It's gotta be like uncomfortable.
Doug.
Well,
What?
my
He
question.
doesn't? I mean,
No,
Well, yeah,
no,
you-
no, no, no,
Hold
no,
on.
no, no, no.
she like
no, no, no.
brushes
You're like,
his
how does he
pinky.
even
Mike,
get an erection?
Thank you.
What's
He's
that?
got no blood.
You gotta have blood
get
to
it-
get the
yeah.
shit
Well,
hard.
he goes
I mean,
gets
no
he goes,
amount of Viagra
he
is
goes
gonna
hunts
help.
gotta
he goes
go.
hunts down some deer.
Carlisle.
Get some blood in his
Carlisle
system,
gives him a,
and like
Shoots a thing of collagen.
Yeah,
This was
yes,
actually
yes,
Kevin's.
that's
This is
right.
That's
actually
exact-
y'all
that's what-
alluding to Kevin's other experiment.
So speaking of experiments,
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Okay, ice
like
cold
she,
dick.
She
We heard
brushes his pinky, and she's like, "Oh, you're ice cold." Like, could you imagine?
And that really never comes up again. She doesn't like they're all over each other. They're hugging, they're kissing. She's never like, oh, like.
well, she got
I'll-
used to
I'll
it
say
real
this,
quick.
as much
as I
probably
heard
used-
that-
she was hot enough for both of them.
You don't get used to that.
As
She
much
was.
as I had heard
She
about
was
sparkly
hot
vampires,
for
that,
Edward.
that and the sparkliness did not bother me.
So
in
there's
this
another
movie.
thing. The
That whole
sparkles. What did you
thing.
think?
Ugh.
This is a
It
great.
just
Of all the reasons for a vampire not to be able to be seen in the sunlight, it is quite
When
possibly the most preposterous.
Everybody
one.
has.
Thank
silly.
you.
in any
It's
genre of
silly.
vampire.
Thank you.
Okay.
They could have just left that whole out, and it wouldn't have changed the film.
Because it could have been because they had crosses
No,
in their house.
it comes
They could
into
just been
play
like, "Oh, that's
in
just
the
a myth."
second one or the
It comes
third
into play
one.
into all of
blah
them.
blah blah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sparkly
Like
vampires.
they could have had pearlescent skin, and then it would. But like really, diamond sparkles from your skin that you can't see
They
in
had to
regular
put it in
light,
there.
but the sunlight you can.
No, it has to be like direct sunlight.
Well,
Like it's
I-
overcast when you go outside.
Exactly.
That's
That's
why
why they
like
live in
living
forks.
there. It's
Come
a
on.
very-
That was directly
overcast.
from the book. They had to put that in.
Yeah.
That's a very
that
important
was a
part.
very- that
she
was
was
a
in
big
love.
point.
She's like, I'm in love with your diamonds, like diamonds and skin.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it even more.
But a lot of people, remember that. So that part in the movie where she does see him for the first time. That I always thought that.
Well,
I remember seeing it the first time in the theater, and I was like, "This wasn't. This
It
isn't
was better in
good."
writing.
Like, this
Well,
is
it,
not
it was
coming
such a
off.
it was a cheesy
It
reveal.
doesn't translate.
It doesn't,
It doesn't
translate.
translate.
Well, no.
Because he builds it up in the movie. If you're only seeing the movie, he's just like, I'm going to show you what I really am, and he goes up to the sunlight, and then it's just sparkles. It's just like, that's it.
I mean, if he'd have I think it would have been better if he'd have totally vamped out and like in the sunlight he like bursts like bat wings or something like that. Something like really bitchy.
I think it would be better if he said, "I'm going to show you what I really am," and ran and caught a deer and like ate it in front of her.
he does that.
Well, he does that. That's
Yeah,
the
that's-
beginning.
Although that
That's how
sounds
he's a
like-
vegetarian.
I think that's what pirates do, but
But he did
Oh.
that scene, the scene in the woods. He does show her the jumping. I can. If you think you can outrun
Yeah.
me,
Yeah, the big
No,
testosterone
yeah.
you think you're
moment,
stronger
yeah.
than me.
yeah.
But,
no,
but
he
that's
does
still
that.
not like
But at least it shows his
super.
range. It's not
Yeah,
scary.
not really a lot.
No.
Like
Well,
his
that's-
it was all the big lead up to like
Yeah.
him showing her his true
Yeah.
nature, and his
Right.
true nature is this sparkly.
Is this sparkly
diamond
exactly.
vampire.
But his nature is even different than that. He's like, no, I'm dangerous. You shouldn't be around me. I'm dangerous.
She should, and I wish she had looked at him and like said, "That's right, Edward. I am dangerous."
But
Like flicked him.
Top Gun.
Yeah,
if you've ever
Top
seen
Gun.
Top Gun.
Okay.
I am.
That's right, Iceman.
Ed.
And then he's
Word.
like, a little,
Yeah, but it's like he this whole up to that point where
Which point?
where
the
the
reveal.
diamond, yes, the diamonds part of it, where it reveals the diamonds part of it, which means that he is this beautiful creature, or whatever. I would have been more believable with his whole backstory up to there, where he is dangerous, is if in the sunlight, maybe that whole trope, it reverses the whole trope of, vampires are destroyed by sunlight, into vampires are strengthened by sunlight, and it does show their
Like
true.
Superman?
so now he's Superman.
Yeah, whatever. But it does show their true.
Well, I mean, he
it's
is-
like reverse werewolf.
The whole setup
you know?
up to that point is he's a superhero. She wants to know how he has super strength, how he's able to save her from the car.
Exactly.
He has
It
super
doesn't.
speed.
It doesn't matter to
He
his
is a
strength. It's
superhero.
only to his physical form, right? Just like it wouldn't change the dynamics, because it's still about his physical.
I mean, I
form,
kind of
but-
feel like it's a stolen thing when, like, the whole baseball scene, because there was in the late '80s when you're reading like the X-Men and they have superheroes play baseball, and it's kind of cool. And I feel like this author, whoever this Twilight, went
Meyer.
and stole the idea of taking a superpowered group of people, these superhero vampires, and making them play baseball. But again, it's
Maybe
it's
she read
vampires.
comics, you know.
I think vampires should be foreign and live in castles and be secretive and not really.
Well, like the Volturi is what you're describing.
Yeah.
That's like
that.
which
Which
we don't see in this movie.
Well, they do. Well, okay.
Right? We hear
We-
about
we
them,
hear
but we
about
don't
them.
see them.
But I do know next time my wife says, "Did you go to the strip club?" I'll be like, "No, I'm a vampire."
I'm a vampire glittering in the sun. Yeah, no, I don't. Let me
Okay.
know how that goes.
Yeah, talk about waking up to people staring at you.
Yeah, yeah. Let me know how that goes.
Okay.
I don't know the idea of this movie, and I remember, I remember when the books came out, and I remember thinking the same thing. I never read the books, but I heard about the books, and I heard about all the them being in the zeitgeist at the time and being huge, but I never realized until I saw this movie and saw bits and pieces of this movie how, just outrageously geared towards that demographic that Andy was mentioning, that 13, 14-year-old and female demographic.
Yes.
And
it is.
even to the 28, 29, 30, 38, 39, whatever, it's still speaking to that inner child, the inner adolescent,
yes,
right, of
The
the
adolescent
romance
female.
and exactly.
It's what it's talking to.
I didn't realize how much of that was like that until I
it
really
is.
saw
Well,
it.
I think that's what when you sit through the film. That's what the first until you get to the baseball scene, which I keep trying to
You
get
are
to.
really into
I
this
just want.
baseball
Well,
scene.
that's
I
where the
kind of want to get
movie-
to the baseball scene too.
That
But
is
not
where
really the
the-
baseball part though.
That is
Hey,
what.
hey,
well,
I got-
that's what
no, hang
I
on,
keep
hang
trying
on.
to get there, Doug, and I can't get through it.
I will
because
not let
every time
you
I bring it
fast
up, I
forward.
get
They want to talk about the middle
They
nine.
No.
keep wanting,
The part that we
yes.
hated.
I
We're
want
like,
to talk to about the meat of the film, which all occurs,
Which is the
after
baseball
the,
scene.
No.
It doesn't occur till after the baseball scene.
What
that
about
I can't get to?
What about the near rape
It's
scene? Are we
initiated.
just gonna
what's
not
the near
talk-
rape scene?
She almost got raped by
Oh yeah,
By
that's
men,
right.
by the
yeah,
biker
yeah,
dudes.
yeah.
very scary.
Yeah,
And they were
come on.
drinking.
They're in a small town. We're going to the small town. And then of course, the guys are like, "Oh, hey, what you doing
Yeah.
out here?"
It's okay. He saved
You
her.
should hear their thoughts. and then, of course, Stalker.
Superman
what's his
shows
name?
up.
Edward.
Stalker Edward decides to show up, and scare him off. Have
Whips
you been
around
following
in his
me?
Mazda 3.
Yes, yes, I have. I've been following. God,
So
that's
in-
so creepy.
He's a stalker.
So this is probably a good example of how the book really explains that humans know that they know to fear something. And so in that scene, what the director did was he just breathed. It was a very subtle and that was supposed to be him scared. And that's when they moved. That's when they went, they're like, oh wait,
You know what I wrote down?
their human instinct kicked in.
Yeah.
You know what I wrote down?
Do you know what I'm
I was
yes. The,
I was
the
wondering
hindbrain.
about I was wondering about why I wrote this note until you just said that.
You're welcome.
I said, did he just belch at belch at that bro dude?
It's like,
'cause
"Whoa,
in the-
you eat hot dogs?
It's like onion breath.
That
Let's
deer
get outta
usage
here.
thing was foul. No,
Eat some
in-
garlic.
In the book, they talk about how just their presence activates a human's hindbrain, that's and
the
so
fight or flight.
the fight or flight,
the
and
primitive
it's just
brain.
they don't as a human, you don't understand why you're reacting this way, but your
Yeah.
hindbrain is just that's dangerous.
Yep.
Get away,
Mhm.
and that's what they were trying to convey with his
Very
breath.
subtle breath.
His belch.
With his yes.
Call it what it is.
He was just like, blah. Like I pictured a green cloud just going out and smacking the dude in the face.
They were like, this guy,
A green cloud with TJ Miller's voice.
this guy sparkled.
I see that my
got
bit of
sparkle,
background
green
information didn't
sparkling.
seem to change it.
So can we get to the baseball scene? Can we
Okay.
just hop
Other
ahead to
stuff
the baseball
happens
scene?
that-
Oh
wait,
my
don't.
God.
Okay, remember now. What about I just like this scene.
I did not realize we can do scene by scene. I enjoy doing scene by scene stuff. I had no intention of doing it with this.
Okay,
Something that Kevin mentioned
It
earlier
explains
about
the
other
dynamics.
movies. We talked about Full Metal Jacket. What was the other one you said was split into two?
The one you
Lost
like.
Highway.
Lost Highway. This movie is two movies. At the baseball
The
scene, the
pivotal
movie
scene is
actually
the
starts.
baseball.
That's where the movie
I
starts.
did enjoy her going to there and they're making the food.
Yes, they're eating.
I did say
when they
I
meet
thought to
the
myself,
family.
this is something I thought about this movie. I said this has been a much better movie without Bella in it. And they had just done like the vampire life, like how they went about their lives trying to do
That was
stuff.
the first time
Hey,
they
go-
used
go
the
see,
kitchen.
I would have
what
enjoyed.
we-
Yes, I would have enjoyed seeing this movie without Bella in
Okay,
it.
you gave me homework. I'm gonna give you homework. Go watch What We Do in the Shadows.
I've heard
It's a
about that.
heard that was pretty
mockumentary about
fun. Yeah.
vampires that are roommates in an apartment.
Yeah,
together.
I heard that was really good. I
Sure
haven't
good.
watched it.
I haven't watched it. I heard it was really good.
But
and I
it's-
still can't
it's
make
funny.
myself
If
watch
Bella
it.
hadn't have been in it, they wouldn't have been in the kitchen doing that scene.
This is true.
Well, I'm not saying. I'm just saying in general. I would have enjoyed like the baseball stuff. They went out and did like
I got
vampire
you.
stuff together. I would have enjoyed this movie much more of them. Like, oh, just give me the history of them moving to the town and like them trying to integrate.
So
I
what you're
didn't
saying,
need
what
all
you're saying,
this.
Doug? What you're saying, Doug? If this movie would have been totally different, you would have liked this movie.
It would have been on your
But I like
must-watch
characters.
hated.
I like the concept of
You
the
like-
vampires.
you
I would
like
have enjoyed
Jasper?
seeing more of that. I did not need to be like
Jasper's
drugged
from
down
Galveston.
with
Mm-hmm.
his angsty. I can't be around her anymore.
They're in pain. You'd be in angst too if you were in pain.
You were
all
a
the time.
vampire.
I mean,
But
you
you
had to
were hungry all
restrain
the
Here's the
time.
thing. That did not come across that they were in pain.
I
Like
know.
that did not.
That
come
didn't
across.
translate. I didn't know that until you just
Like,
told me
like
that.
Yeah.
in the movie, their throats are always like
Throats are always
burning
dry.
because
'cause they
they're
don't have-
always hungry and they're around
That's
like their
one.
food source
That's
that
like
they can't
one
eat.
sentence of exposition.
Exactly. Just give me that.
My
Give,
total-
give
But
that
they
to me.
do in the very beginning when all the Cullen siblings are walking in, they're being introduced for the first time, and Anna Kendrick
Oh, I
is
was
like
already entertained. I was already irritated by then about
I've
them
got,
walking.
I've
They're-
got
They
something to
look
say
so
about that
weird.
scene.
Like
that
no-
is not
there
complimentary.
is a well, you were asking why there is a reference to it. Anna Kendrick turns around and says, "Oh, those are the Cullens. They don't talk to anybody about themselves." But they
I'm
say
a
the
big
guy.
Anna Kendrick fan, by the way.
I love Anna Kendrick.
I do too.
See, this is
She does a
introducing Anna
I wish
Kendrick.
she had been in
I
it
love
more.
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah,
she
same
was
here.
she was a fantastic character.
She did well.
So
I
great.
really
Yeah.
enjoyed her.
And
Highlight
so
of the
she
movie.
says she just makes a quick, just one quick line that when Jasper walks by, the guy that looks like he's in pain all the time, that's Jasper. So I mean, there is at least
Oh,
a reference.
don't get me started on Jasper.
Mumbly,
Well,
fucking boom.
He's the
Howard
newest
Jasper.
one. He's the newest one, and he's
He's
darn. A
spectacular.
lot of Jasper comes out in the second
next
book
one, yeah.
because he has a bigger part in the second book. But
I never want to see.
So
any
I'm
of
just
these
saying,
other
that
movies.
scene that you're
I
just
wanna tell
talking
you.
about.
Yes.
So their whole point of going to high school is they're trying to blend in, so they can live there longer.
And they were
But-
just normal
no, wait.
high school students.
No, wait. So no. So all the high school kids, and this is what I will give the movie. I enjoy the movie. I like the movie. I will give it props for this. All of the high school students look like high school students.
yeah,
They look
Except the
like
Cullens.
they are the age that they're supposed to be.
They look 171.
But then when
You
the
know?
models all
But then-
walk in,
Yes, but then the Cullens walk in. They're trying to blend in, and they legit look like they're walking down the runway.
right. No, that's true.
With like their perfect looks and their
And
like
their-
expensive outfits, and they're like strutting. It's just
It's
like
walk off.
way to
It's walk off.
yes,
It's a walk
way to blend in. Way to,
I
it's
was
just like,
waiting for
they
David
look like
Bowie.
models.
Not to
I
mention,
believe I
Oh,
could be some of
face-
them.
Faces.
that's Esme.
white.
She's so hot right
Yeah,
now.
and they're so pasty. They're
They're
like
so- I mean,
so
they're so
pasty.
pasty.
They start
even
breakdance
for-
fighting.
like powder, like you could see the powder. Like
Yeah.
you could see the
Yeah.
layers of powder.
It was gross.
Oh, and so can we now? Do you have any more? Because I'm dying. I'm kind of with Andy. I
Well,
kind of
then,
want to
and
get
then
to because I have
we're
thoughts on
forgetting
this.
all these. These are
Wait,
main points.
This is your movie,
Well, I
by
think
the way.
I think
so.
what's frustrating me is everything up until the baseball scene in that entire
It's
movie.
like-
Introduction.
It's all exposition.
Yeah, it's
the
all
movie's not split into
exposition,
two. It's all
introduction.
exposition. There is that much exposition
Even
to
the-
set up a
even the-
movie that lasts maybe 20, 30 minutes. Okay, because the
Yeah.
movie is from the baseball scene to the end. That's where
Yeah,
all
that's
the
the
action is.
actual-
That's where all the
That's
plot
where the-
is.
That's where the
plot-
story
The
starts.
You're
story
supposed to-
starts at the
Yeah.
base, and everything up to that point is setting up a 20-minute story about a psychotic vampire chasing her down. Because I don't really understand his infatuation with why he has to kill her, other than
It's all about the hunt. For
It's
him.
all that
Yeah,
shit.
he's-
Once,
I mean,
once he started,
He said
yeah,
she brought a
stop.
snack.
Yeah, no. I would agree with
But
you.
you have to
Andy.
understand why the characters are doing what
No,
they do.
that's what I'm saying. That's what
but
I'm saying.
if you need that much
you need that
exposition in your
exposition.
film, something's
Well, the
wrong with your
problem
film.
is, even with all the exposition, I still have no idea why some of them were doing what they were doing.
Well,
Exactly.
I
There- I
don't
think there was-
understand
there
why
was
the
way too
tracker
mu-
has to kill her. I don't get it. Maybe I needed more exposition about his character.
That's the problem. That's the problem. And maybe you get that in the book. You don't in that exposition, that whatever 25-minute exposition of the beginning of the movie, 25, 30 minutes, I didn't time it. What you don't get is a proper introduction of the villain.
Which,
I mean, you see them, they do, you hear about them. I mean, Charlie has to go investigate, right? And you see, I think you get glimpses of them, but you never know.
But they're
you don't
so
know what
weird
it
as
is.
villains because, okay, you got 3 vampires that show up in a small town. They're just randomly killing people, and then they show up at
They're not even showing up in the
they
town. They're
randomly
like
show-
hiding in the woods.
Yeah.
And they randomly show up at a baseball game being
Because
played
they heard
by other
they
vampires.
heard the baseball game. Because like
Yeah.
some of them they were like this. Oh, vampires are playing baseball. Let's go.
Let's
Yeah.
go, maybe we can play too.
Yeah,
They
This
were
is
just
this is excellent vampire baseball weather.
and then they show up to play baseball, and only one of the chick is kind of bad too, but the third of the evil guys ends up being he's good, right?
Lamont.
Lamont.
Yeah.
He goes.
Well,
Lamont or Laurent?
Hey, I gotta warn you.
The
Once,
Lamont
once,
or Laurent?
once Bill
Laurent.
decides he's going to
Laurent.
kill somebody, he
so,
has
hold
to
on.
kill them.
Okay, the bad guy. Who's the bad guy? What's his name?
James.
The blonde guy. James.
And Victoria.
That guy is such a bad actor. From what even the little parts I saw when he's like, "Oh, you bought a snack," and then Edward's like, and they're like doing a little face off. Look at James. I thought they were about to like break out and like beat it and start dancing.
You know
it would have been
was
a better
so
film
bad.
had
I thought
they.
that character reminded me that character you're gonna speaking of Point Break, that character reminded me of the side character Roach in Point Break. That's always just like the crazy like asshole of the bunch.
it just I didn't understand it, and he was that started the whole thing. And he's sure once he gets on the hunt, he'll never stop. And
Which
I
is
love how-
which is the exact line that Patrick
I love how
Swayze says about
his
Roach in Point Break.
His decision was, let's get in the car and drive. What I can run much faster than the car.
But he's also he's just met like 5 other vampires who have a human with them, and of all the human, I'm gonna you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and go for it.
So
and
you're
fight
just
these other vampires
what you're saying
for one.
is-
It just
right,
doesn't
I get what
make.
you're
It's
saying.
just like go
I never
hunt
thought
something out. I mean, there's got to be somebody out there more
Easier.
challenging or easy. Well, they've already killed like other townspeople, but I don't know. Like the one, and the entire rest of the movie is central on the fact that this tracker has decided in a 2-second, again, a romance out of nowhere, in a 2-second, 20-second meeting, I have to kill Bella.
And they've already
Because-
established, and then they
To
established
such-
by the end of the movie that he could not have beaten 2 of them. He could beat Edward, but he couldn't beat more than one of them.
He risks his entire life, and in fact ends his entire life because of an infatuation to kill this one human that showed up to play.
I think the point was that this was now a challenge. All those people he killed before, he was just killing for food. That wasn't a challenge. But now there's this human that is being protected by these vampires, and I cannot resist the challenge
The
that this
hunt.
poses for me. I cannot
Yeah.
resist the hunt.
And he
I have
dies
been
for it.
alive for hundreds of years. I'm bored as
Yeah.
hell.
Right. No. That's
And
true.
this is now entertainment for
Again,
me.
maybe they could have put some of that in that freaking hour and a half.
And
Exposition.
again, that's what I was saying. That exposition needed to get into the backstory of that. Why is he on the hunt?
And then they chased
right?
them, right?
Well,
Because
I
she wore
think-
his jacket.
Give me a little more.
And in the movie, they thought that they had explained it enough when Edward said, because he can read the guy's mind. That's how he knows what his intentions are. When he says, "Me defending you has just turned you into the biggest hunt
Yes.
for him."
Yeah.
That's what they're trying to convey.
But
in
why
that one
didn't
sentence.
when he was chasing them, when she was wearing the jacket and they were running through the woods, and like he was right behind them chasing them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't they just stop and fight him? Because all it took was one other guy to show up and they beat him. And I remember they like grabbed him by his arms, and of course they cut away. So you're trying to figure out what they're doing because
Well, I guess
heaven forbid
when,
they show
when it's
action in this
5
movie.
on 3, they might have lost. The one of the 5 might have lost one of their numbers.
But no, I'm saying like because the other guy quit. The Lamont, he quit the thing. He was like, I'm out. I'm
Laurent.
tired of his
Laurent.
games. And
Yeah,
then
he came and
the
he
chick,
came and ratted
she
on
just
him.
kind of didn't get involved, and so it was just the guy James. They beat him when they fought in the ballet studio. It was just Edward and James. The moment anyone else showed up, James already lost. They'd already just grabbed him. They just grabbed him. They're like, oh, okay, we got him. Let's cut his head off and burn him.
Yep.
Well, why didn't you just do that at the beginning? Like, when they were chasing him in the woods, it was the one guy who looked like he was
which really,
on MTV douchebags. What was his name? The guy with the cap. You know,
Emmett.
Yeah.
Emmett and Jasper could have just turned around and beat him. That could have been the end of the movie right there.
One of my notes is, are all vampires douchebags?
But when you get to that scene, the guy should know that he could be killed by this group of vampires. He's smart to go. Maybe it would have been a better movie if he had been like, oh man, I'm gonna kill this chick, and then he can read minds. He knows, oh man, he's gonna keep after you no matter what I do. And like they went ahead and tried to play bait, like he's gonna secretively hunt her, not just out in the open hunt her, because these vampires kill him like nothing when you're once you get to the ballet room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just grab him. They literally just
rip
grab
him apart and burn him.
Two guys hold his arms. That's it. And then they go drag him away. And then
she rips his head off.
However, all the best.
Then some
scenes
some
of the
blurry
movie.
stuff happens. It's almost worse than watching a Bourne movie with
Well,
all the cutaways.
You get Bella's perspective as she's blacking out. That's what they go to. You get Bella's perspective as she's blacking out.
How about that acting from Kristen Stewart?
You get the
That-
point.
that-
She's such a weak spot. Her
No,
acting is
she's-
just so
the best-
bad.
the most
her
poignant
one facial
moment in the
expression?
movie.
Like
She's in the truck, I think, with Edward, and they're driving by, and she looks out, and she sees all her high school friends leaving the restaurant, and there's no lines about it, but you can just feel it's that, my God, why did I decide to date a vampire? I could be hanging out and a normal person, but I had to date a vampire.
Exactly.
And then they get to her dad's house, and I did not, this is what really threw me for a loop, was that I did not anticipate the reverse Harry and the Henderson maneuver.
Here we go again with Henry.
Yeah,
Harry
with her father.
Oh,
When she has to,
when
she
she
has
does
to
it to
slap
him.
him and
Yeah,
say,
she
I
does.
have to leave town.
Well, that's what
I
her
have
mom-
to run into
Go.
the woods.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
how
What
old
did
is she?
No, what did she say to him?
17.
17.
I don't want to just sit around and watch movies all the time.
Baseball.
It-
or,
That's why
what-
mom left.
That's what
Oh,
my mom
Mom.
said. When she
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God. I would have been like,
Right? Okay.
Man.
Your ass upstairs to your room.
And I'm sorry, Charlie, he's the sheriff of the town, I'm guessing, right?
Yep.
Sheriff?
Yes.
Yes.
And let me tell you,
He is.
I guarantee you, he's clueless about that town for the rest of the movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. He has no fucking
wants to
clue
be
what's going on.
Not a very good sheriff.
Until the end, I think. Until Breaking Wind Part 2.
He still doesn't know what's going on in
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah.
Even when
But-
the weird baby
But
shows up.
what I want to say is when she leaves and she goes off like that,
Oh, he
she's
never
still a
knows
minor.
his town is full
She's
of
still a minor.
vampires
He
and werewolves.
should have arrested her and said, you are not driving to Phoenix from Seattle, pretty
I
much.
am your
He's-
father. You will listen to
He's
me.
the
Exactly.
sheriff of the town, so he can make it a big deal.
Exactly.
Well, I think
It's not the cops are like, oh, she just ran away. No. You are the cops.
Yeah.
You run the cops.
Exactly.
Go pull her over, bring her home.
Yeah. APB, my daughter's been kidnapped and blah,
Exactly.
blah, 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 blah.
All the
FBI.
sheriffs in the counties around me, the contiguous
Well, maybe
counties
that's
and
why
cities.
she had to be so mean to him. Give him the Bigfoot slap down and say,
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
down.
Make him
Also,
like,
this
make
is a
him,
guy
like,
that
step
has shared
back.
custody, and this is the first time she's come to live with him for an extended
Yeah,
period of
there's
time.
some
It's not just
background
like
going
weekends
on.
and the months. So when
Yeah,
you're
I
that
guess.
parent,
Oh, and then the stepmom married a baseball player?
He's
Yeah.
in
Minor
the mines.
leaguers.
What is this
Yeah.
like baseball?
Well, I thought the dad watched baseball.
they watched the dad with the
he
Indians
loved
or the
watching
Native
baseball,
American gentleman.
And then the other guys, the mom's dating a baseball player, and the vampires play baseball. Because this is an all-American film
Comedy
is.
comes in 3.
It is.
about a goth anthem, including vampires and werewolves.
So did y'all want to talk about the baseball scene?
I think we got to it. We wanted to get to James. And his nonsense.
That's the moment. I'm just trying to. That's the
the
moment.
that's the
movie
transitional
starts.
moment.
And the rest, everything up to that moment is exposition. You
Oh
wanna
no,
talk
no,
about why
no!
this is a
And
bad movie?
remember, his dad told him, "We'll be watching you." God, is every guy in this town creepy?
Yeah, they're all creepy.
He should have been like,
Hey,
My
when
dad- my dad
Jacob
told me-
shows up at the is it the prom?
Jake. Yeah.
Yeah, to say,
Does
hey.
he not go to school? Is he homeschooled?
He shows up at the prom.
no,
and
he
goes,
goes
"No."
to
on the
school as a
reservation.
reservation.
She
He goes
says,
to
"Why
school
are you
on the-
here?" And he
on the
says,
On the
reservation.
res.
"Oh no, I'm here. My dad paid me to come tell you to break up with Edward."
That's right.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
What a bad
But
way.
my dad. Yeah. Think about this. My dad paid me to tell you to break up with Edward because he'll be watching you. Your dad's a creeper, man.
Like that whole
They're
scene,
all
like,
creepers. This whole town of Forks.
Just a bunch of creepy people.
Yeah. I don't know why I have this note, but I have it plus and circled.
Mhm.
So it helped me find out what this is. Gaslight Extreme. Why did I write that?
So in any part of the movie was he like, you didn't see that, blah, 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 that didn't happen?
Oh, that's right. Yes, when the whole truck scene.
Oh,
The
yeah.
whole truck scene, he like
What
What are you talking
like
about?
where
I was right
running
next to you.
away.
exactly.
I was right next to you.
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't.
I was
I didn't
right
run
next
really
to
fast.
you.
Yes,
That's
the
You
truck
mean
scene.
the
Where he
car
stops the van.
crashing?
Yeah,
Yes.
the crash
Yes.
scene.
The
Sorry.
truck
But I knew exactly what you were talking
Okay.
about
Yeah.
because he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was right next to
I
you.
was
didn't
right
see
next
that.
to you.
You didn't see me?
Exactly.
What's wrong with you? You hit your head pretty hard. I was right next to you the whole time.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not they don't have a very healthy relationship.
No, they don't.
And then did nobody? How could nobody else see that? No, she's the only one that noticed him being all the way across the thing. And
It's
I mean,
human
even-
nature to write things off. They're like, "Oh, I guess he must have been." Like,
I'll give you that.
it's human nature to just
I
like
don't, it doesn't
come up
break
with
it for me.
explanations.
Yeah.
to come up with an
The
explanation.
fact that
for-
she's the only one that notices he has superpowers.
But she's already been watching him anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
It's not surprising.
Again,
She knows
it's a
where
mutual,
he
No, 'cause
it's a
remember-
mutual obsession.
He wasn't there when they all got back. Remember, he disappeared, right? When they all came back after the truck,
Yeah.
it was just the truck and she was sitting there. Because I remember
was
thinking he disappeared.
Well, he jumped off. Yes, he jumped away. He ran off.
Yeah.
And then everyone else started gathering.
Yeah.
The crowd started gathering.
And she went. And she was. It was her alone when they all showed up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I guess that I was
that's
all
prob-
in that whole
Good
like
call there.
where
He did
he's-
gaslight her though. That was very gaslight.
Yeah, where he-
This may be my favorite of the five must watch. This might be my least hated. It's a decent watch. The only one that may break it. Well, I guess we'll get there. It's number one or number two as far as most likable for me of the must watches.
Okay.
It's
I
not that I
like
hated
it,
it. It's
so.
not a great film. Too much. The exposition is just you got to slog through it once
The
you get to
front
the
half.
film.
well, it
of the
sounded
film.
like
Half the
it was
movie.
easier to watch.
You get to the second half, it's easier to watch, but at the same time, doesn't necessarily
I
make
did
a lot of
I
sense.
did say that. I said the ending wasn't terrible.
And every time
the third
Alice-
act, I did not mind.
Yeah, the third act is
The
the
first
best.
two-
The first.
She'll tell you when all the parts you want to talk about. She looked over at me, and I'm sitting there like grinding my teeth and shaking my head, like I hate this movie.
I have one more
I
part I want
wrote-
to talk about.
What a stupid movie.
The third act is okay, and like I said, I liked Alice, the actress.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know who the actress is, but I thought she did
Ashley
a good
Greene.
job. And when Alice gets to be the guy who kills
Oh, I did bring
James,
this up.
is that his
James.
name?
Yeah.
How's
Yeah, that's
Carlisle the
fantastic.
doctor? That's like the town doctor. Like, every time I went to the doctor, they've touched me.
I thought it was so he could have access to blood.
I
bags,
agree. That's probably what it is.
is what
but
I thought.
doctors
They
that
don't
don't
drink
touch
human
you,
blood.
I know.
like, I mean, like they're always very. Oh, my arm hurts.
Yes,
oh,
but
let me
some
feel.
people have cold hands. Like my
Yeah,
hands
but
are
the
freezing.
guy
Gloves.
has to deal with
He put
blood all the
gloves
time.
on.
But he
Like, we'll
has
talk about what
needed blood before.
Aren't
Well,
you,
it
and I
wasn't
told
in
her,
this movie.
aren't you?
Yeah.
I bet they're like he's not the gynecologist.
But he's needed it for
Well, is that yeah,
other
I'm not
reasons.
gonna
He's
go
not.
there.
Oh,
I'm not gonna
God.
take it
My
there.
God.
Okay, can we just? Okay.
One more scene you want to talk about?
It's the last scene. It's almost the end.
Okay.
It's the hospital
Why didn't he
when
hurry?
her mom visits her in the hospital and is recounting the story and Bella's because she
Oh, that is the worst story ever.
yeah,
That
it's
is
so
the
funny
absolute worst
because she's like
story.
you and mom, oh hi mom, and she's like you tripped, you fell,
Down flights of stairs
went
through
through
a
a
glass
window.
you
window.
went through a window.
Yeah, I wrote that down.
And she's
too.
so
I wrote that
clumsy.
entire
Her
thing
mom
down.
was just like,
Just
"That's so
believed the
you,
whole thing."
Bella.
That's so
It's
you,
so
Bella.
you."
The ballerina. It's
And-
just like you to fall downstairs and through a
Yeah.
window.
Oh yeah, and then she, mom leaves, and then Edward is up next, and he's like, I gotta leave you, and I'm dangerous for you, and she's like, no,
That
But-
scene is
but-
my least
it-
favorite scene.
no, no.
Doesn't she say? Doesn't she ask him? You could,
That
you
was
coulda-
that was
that's
a
where she
perfect
says,
imitation.
That's where she says you could have
was
turned me into a
spectacular.
vampire.
Well done,
You had
Jess.
every chance right there to make me a vampire. Why didn't you?
Because he thinks that his soul is damned
Yes,
and
he
he
doesn't
doesn't
have-
want to damn the woman he
Yes.
loves.
Right.
I know.
I'll be honest. I think I checked out of this movie.
Do you not know
I
that?
just was like, I'm done with it.
Please be over.
But I think it would have been a better movie if he would have made her a vampire right then.
Well,
And probably a better
I
book
wish
series.
she had said at the
a
end.
better series.
I wish she
No.
said, "Why didn't you turn me into a vampire?" And I want to.
he wanted her to live life. He wanted her to live
I'm just
life.
not that into you.
I'm
You
a,
don't
I'm a
understand,
hit
Bella.
it
If
and
I
quit
turn
it.
you into a vampire, do you understand how hard it is to break up later? You really can't get out of it.
I've,
Oh, you're-
I've done
for
this
life.
before.
Like for
I've done this before. That's what all my teenage girlfriends tell me.
I have a high school girlfriend for every one of those cap and gowns you saw.
I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Well, I don't know if everyone is aware of this. I know Angie is, but this is
yes,
where
I am.
this is
I was about to
Kristen
bring it
and
up.
Robert met, and they ended up dating for a long time.
And then she cheated on him.
And she
With a
cheated on
married
him with
director.
the director of Snow White
Yep.
and the Huntsman.
Yep.
He was married. At
He
the
was
time.
married, yeah. Caused
but
divorce.
she got all the shit. Like she was torn to pieces, and he was married, and they were just like, Kristen Stewart. Even
She's such a whore. But it's like, really? Because he's the married
She-
one.
yeah.
She was more of a household
She took
name
a lot
than,
of flack.
than the director was. That's
And then
why.
she was like, "Fuck men, I'm going the other way." But
Yeah, she dated that Samantha, whatever, the DJ, right?
yeah, well,
Bronson.
Bronson.
Yeah.
Bronson.
So the weird thing is, in this during the season of the Dirty Penguin Presents, this is not the first movie where we get a little glimpse into the romantic life of the of the leads. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's true.
yeah.
But yeah, so and Robert Pattinson also dated Nikki, Rosalie.
Nikki Hale. Is that her name?
Not Hale,
No.
but
The blonde- the
Rosalie.
blonde?
Rosalie.
Wait, she was.
Not, I think before this whole, like, they knew each other, but so they dated, and that is Kristen Stewart's best friend. So I think there's probably a little drama there, but yeah, Robert and Kristen dated for like 3 or 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and took like a year to break up after that little
And
little
they
indiscretion.
still had a movie to
Discretion.
shoot afterwards.
What do you mean?
Like,
What?
were they?
No,
were
I
they
think
still
they
dating
broke
the
up
last?
after. No, it was
I
after.
think all
it
that
was
went
after
down
Breaking
after
Wind.
Twilight.
It would have been
Breaking
awesome if, like,
Wind.
the very tension-filled attention-filled Breaking Wind.
It
You
would have
know,
probably made it.
You guys.
I just hope.
kind of where you're worried, like, what's going to come out of this?
Exactly.
Breaking Dawn,
yeah.
people. Breaking Dawn.
I just hope that if the Penguin ever has a discussion of vampire films, please do not include this movie as a vampire film. This is not a vampire
It
movie
really isn't.
whatsoever.
I agree.
It's just not. It's a teen angsty, gothic love story.
Dracula in Brooklyn is the one you really want to.
One thing I will not forgive.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
It's like I
Vampire in
won't
Brooklyn,
forgive this particular series for is Spawning. You think the writing in this is bad? Spawning.
Did you ever?
50
Well, I
Shades
think
of
that's
Grey.
part of the problem with Twilight
that's
is that
true.
it boosts this terrible
If you
book
really want to see a good vampire movie about
genre.
Twilight, well, go see Vampire Sucks.
I hated that movie.
Go see what?
Vampires suck.
There was some funny. Okay, there was some funny parts in it, but
Is that a spoof
When she's
on,
sleeping-
It's,
Twilight?
yeah, it's like
Speaking
the
of Breaking
epic movie.
Wind.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and he's watching her while she sleeps.
What's that?
And
And Vampire
and-
Sucks. There's some good flatulence humor.
Yeah.
Some good fart jokes.
Okay.
Yeah, some
Which
very
is
well
more, which is
placed,
more
well timed
infinitely more
fart
realistic.
jokes.
As somebody's watching me sleep,
Yeah.
that's probably closer to what you're
there
going to
you
catch.
go. That's the reality, Jesse. That's the reality. I'm gonna videotape
no,
me watching you sleep and play it back for you.
No,
And see if it's sexy.
It's going to be, if you go to the Dirty Penguin Instagram, it'll be an Insta story.
Coming soon to Insta Stories.
Just
The
for
Dirty Penguin Insta. Exactly.
How many Twilight movies did they make?
5.
I asked that question too. I've
Yeah.
seen the last one, which the last one they end up doing
They split it.
they do the next
Yeah.
or the
Yeah,
JR got
Shot
shot.
JR.
Or just
They did.
The Bob
a
Newhart.
pretty cool fight scene. They actually do
Yes.
a cool
That's
fight scene.
that's
And then they freaking find out, it didn't really exist.
exactly.
Oh,
They
It
did
didn't
they?
really happen. It was on his
Yeah.
head.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, if the people that read the book knew that didn't happen, and it was just like, where is this going? Because this isn't a thing.
Yeah.
They in the book they just sit and talk to each other and work it out.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's oh my Lord, have
I'm
mercy.
watching
Yeah.
the movie. The first time I watched
That
the movie,
would
I was
have
just like,
made me
that's not the
so
movie.
mad.
They do. They just talk it out.
That would have made me. No wonder people said people never said the book is better.
So I've only seen the first one and the last one. I've never seen the ones in between.
Okay.
And I will probably never. Even I'll tell you this now. If one of y'all makes this as must watch, I probably will not must watch it. I'll probably just lie.
Which one?
Any of the rest of them.
Can't break the rules of the must watch.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
can't
not
break
It's a
you
must
can't
watch.
cancel.
It's not
You
cool,
cannot
man.
break the integrity of the Dirty Penguin here.
No.
No winks. No winks.
Stop
Yeah.
winking.
No winks, no nudges.
Yep, exactly. You can't break the integrity of the Dirty Penguin. I watched Ever After, dude, and it gave me heartburn and bile.
You
chose.
I know.
Well, you chose Twilight.
But I'm not. I'm letting you know now. I'm not choosing the rest of them.
You can't get mad about your own choices.
You did this to
Anyway.
yourself.
Yeah.
So, Twilight. Any final thoughts? Final last words?
The book was much better.
Andy.
Yes.
Andy, if I give you a call and said, "Should I watch Twilight?"
Should I watch Twilight or Ever After?
I would
He would
definitely
say Ever
say
After.
watch Twilight. I would say watch Twilight before Ever After. I really wouldn't recommend this. I don't think it's anything anyone ever needs to see.
Yeah.
There's not any.
I would
there's
recommend.
not gonna. It's just.
Kevin, would you?
I would
not
recommend this
terrible,
to
but-
people as an example of how not to make a vampire movie.
But I'm just saying, would you recommend this movie?
No.
I can't come up with
So
any
2 out of 5.
Any situation.
The
where
other
this
one was
would
3 out
be
of
a-
5 because I would have recommended Ever After. I
Maybe
know
if
they
someone said,
wouldn't.
"Hey, can you recommend a good Kristen Stewart movie?"
I would have
I
said
might
Snow
say
White. and the Huntsman.
watch it. I really haven't seen that either, though.
I would.
I'm not a fan of
I would
hers.
pick Panic Room.
Oh yeah, she was
yeah,
actually really good in that.
I would pick
agree.
Well, there
the
you go.
movie where she's Joan Jett. The
Oh,
Oh.
Cherry Bomb is
There you go.
what's it called?
well,
Um,
the,
Josie
what's
and
the
the
name of the
Pussycats?
Runaways? The
The
Runaways.
Runaways.
I need to see that. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that had
She looked
Dakota
really good in
Fanning in
that.
it.
It
Is
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 They're reunited. Dakota Fanning's also in Twilight.
oh, that's right. Yeah.
She
There
is.
you go.
Yes,
she wasn't
she
in
is.
this one though.
So,
Okay.
to wrap up our discussion of Twilight, Stephanie Meyer's Twilight. I mean, we've got, I think, 2 out of 5 that would recommend.
Yeah, this movie
Yeah.
sucks, guys. I chose it. This movie sucks.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
watch it.
I think you're going to anger some of our Twihard fans.
I don't
At-
see the
Are there
hate.
still Twihard
I don't.
fans?
Sometimes I'm missing the hate on it,
They're out
like why
there.
you
They're out
hate
there
it.
in the wild.
They're out
But I don't.
I despise this movie. I do not enjoy watching
I
it.
loathe you.
I hate hearing about it.
What do you hate more, Ever After? Or
I told you I didn't care. I don't mind it.
Well, he likes them.
Really?
Yeah, he would have done. Yeah.
Are you just not wanting to hear that? He said it like 5 times.
I'll give you more. When we finish,
I can't accept it in my head.
when we
reject it.
finish
Jesse,
this, when we finish,
I can't accept how anyone would.
when we finish all 5 movies, we'll do the rundown of which ones we hated the most. I mean,
I know.
Twilight will always be number 1 to me because I chose it, but I have thoughts on every one of the movies that got picked. This still is the one I hate the most.
Okay.
All right. Well, so
And by the way, it is what number 2 on the most hated
on
list.
the most hated
So,
list, yes.
I'm not
absolutely.
alone.
You are
in
not
this.
alone.
You are not alone. You are
You
not.
are not alone. I am here with you.
All right. As we ride out to not Michael Jackson,
That's when he was married to
Lisa Marie.
Lisa
right?
Marie.
Lisa Marie Presley.
That was when he was married to Kristen Stewart.
Shut up.
So that wraps up our Twilight discussion. Check us out on Twitter at Dirty Presents, and go visit our Facebook and Instagram pages at The Dirty Penguin Presents on both
On
platforms.
your book face.
On the book face. Go check out our website, thedirtypenguinpresents.com, where we host all of our episodes, including season 1, movies about Las Vegas. We will be hosting there all of our episodes going forward. Join us for our next episode, which will be,
Drum roll, please.
drum roll please, Vanilla Sky.
Oh,
Tom
Angie's
Cruise and
Pick.
Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla
We're going
Sky.
to Angie's Pick, Vanilla Sky. See you next time. Quack, quack, quack.